Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Thursday update recorded on October the 26th. And we've got a lot to unpack today. We've got a tropical storm which is falling apart, but the leftovers are going to form a new system that will produce severe weather potential for the North Island, especially the upper North Island this coming Sunday, Monday, maybe into Tuesday. But before all that arrives, it's the South Island's turn to get some severe weather, and that's in the form of a cold change, bringing in snow, some heavy rain, and severe gales as well. Classic spring weather. Although it is late in October to be getting a snowy blast, farmers we've spoken to in Southland have said that this has happened a few times in the past before. So this is how it looks at the moment. Big southerly being dredged up. Here is Antarctica, low pressure to the east, high pressure to the west. Perfect setup to get that southerly coming in. Now, being this time of the year, it'll be short-lived. It'll be knocked out of the way by a windy westerly change. But as we go into Thursday night and Friday, you'll be noticing it's a lot colder around the South Island. Let's just go back to the tropics briefly. This is Lola's tracking when it came in. Very slow movement over Vanuatu for the last couple of days. The good news is it's now Category 1 when we recorded this. And potentially by the end of today, it's no longer even a cyclone. Certainly by Friday, we do expect it to fall apart as it comes into New Caledonia. So that is the good news. But like I say, it's going to reform. So we'll talk about that in a moment as it joins forces with another system. But let's have a look at what is going on with this southerly change. The departure from normal today and tonight. Don't pay too much attention to all the words. You're just really looking at the colours here. So warmer than average across most of New Zealand for today, except for Southland, which is about where it should be. Tonight, on the other hand, colder than average, 4 to 8 degrees below normal for this time of the year for the lower South Island. And then obviously the further north you go, the milder it is. But that colder change will spread up New Zealand across Friday and into Friday night as well. So we've got snow on the way, not a huge amount necessarily, but it's how low down it's going. That's potentially the news story here. So, 5 to 15 centimetres, 5 to 15 centimetres of snow around the Southern Alps and the Southern Ranges. But the pale blue you see here, which is just a couple of flurries, probably won't even settle, possible all around the coastal parts. Now, not so much sea level. It's more likely to be 100 or 200 metres above sea level. So that's more likely to be places like Queenstown, Gore, and maybe Dunedin. Invercargill, you might get some sleet. It is hard to say. Sometimes you're in a borderline area right on those coastal zones from Invercargill around to Dunedin, but certainly wintry weather tonight coming through, and there'll be a little bit of snow for the ranges in the north, not very much though. And rain's on the west coast, 60 to 80 millimetres there around Greymouth to Hokitika. Otherwise, not a lot of rain really falling around New Zealand, with driest conditions for now in the east and north of both islands for now, because we've got that other system arriving on Sunday. Let's kick off with what's happening tonight. This is just after midnight tonight. Big southerly coming straight into the South Island, so you will notice those temperatures down. The snow level will drop further and further towards dawn on Friday. Sometime around dawn, we think it'll be at its coldest and most likely for snow to those low levels. Let's now move through till lunchtime Friday, and this map has to show both the South Island and the tropics to make it all connect up to you. But here is that cold change moving up New Zealand. So there'll be a brief cold front for the top of the country, and then the temperature's down a wee bit. Not as majorly cold for those of you in the North Island, but you'll all feel it. You'll certainly feel on Friday night that the temperatures are down across New Zealand. Now up here, that's the leftovers of what was severe Cyclone Lola. And just down here near Brisbane, there's another low. So these two are going to merge together over the weekend, and that's going to produce this new system coming in for the north. But for Friday, all the attention really is in the South Island with that wintry change coming on in. Now by Saturday, the high pressure zone rolls in, cold weather sinks down, and light winds means you're likely to see some frosts around. And that's a bit of a concern for some people at this time of the year, especially those who make our beautiful, lovely wine. We don't want to be seeing frosts around damaging the vineyard. So there will be some cold weather coming in, mostly in the South Island as a result of this. And here is that new low forming around Norfolk Island. They'll be getting plenty of rain up there. So on Sunday, this is when this low is as bad as it gets. So it does look a little bit ominous, but the air pressure 995, that is getting down, but that's hopefully about as low as it gets. Mostly because of this high pressure belt all the way around it. It shuts off that chance for it to deepen. You need sort of a northerly and a southerly to help spin it. And really, this is just a northerly coming in. So it takes the energy from the other low, merges it, creates this new system, and we get wind and rain, kind of like what we normally get with a wind and rain event in New Zealand. It's not a major tropical storm. Don't worry too much about that. But certainly wind in the squash zone between the fairly deep low and the powerful high pressure zone further to the south. So that produces more rain. This is 2 days from Sunday, up to 70 to 100 millimeters in some of these areas. But just like the rain event we had a couple of weeks ago, it's a very fine line between the heavy rain at sea and the drier conditions further inland. So just about nothing for the South Island there. So on Monday, that system's already weakening, still got high pressure all around it. So it's using up its own energy, and eventually it starts to fall apart. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit wet and windy around the country. The city people won't like that as much, but the farmers, a lot of you may well like a little bit more rain coming in at the moment, especially if the forecast is so much drier for the months ahead. And we get to Tuesday, that low really is falling apart quite a lot more now. You can still see that rain though lingering. So 3 days of wet weather for Bay of Plenty, Gisborne, those sort of areas. That's the reason why you're seeing those rainfall totals lift up. But also a fine line between where that wet weather is and a little bit further south where it's completely dry. So this forecast could still move around a little bit. And our final map for Wednesday shows back to the westerlies. Back to normal, really, after what another dramatic week of weather around New Zealand. So the westerlies come through, that low has fallen apart. The subtropical winds out at sea are just coming into the Chatham Islands only. And high pressure, which goes out to the Indian Ocean, means plenty of westerlies are yet to come back in again. So it's still, your spring weather pattern. Usually November does start to calm down a little bit. October's peak crazy weather. So let's just see how we go over the next week or so, but certainly more severe weather on the way today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update. And of course, our 7-day Australia only forecast. It's also out today as well.